Okay, we're back. I had to end that one at 15 because, like I said, YouTube is a douche. So, I'm still working on this one. For some reason, YouTube does not want to upload my videos any longer than 15 minutes because, I don't know, even when I'm on a good Wi-Fi connection. It keeps telling me that there was an error, so I don't freaking know. It's irritating as get out. I don't know if anybody else has that problem with YouTube or not, but I do. Like I said, real fur, this is what it is right here. One hair at a time. Short strokes, long strokes, all different kind of strokes, one hair at a time till your hand falls off. And then you actually do have some smooth shading that you can do on the face. Because there's some places where the fur is so short it just looks like it's smooth shaded. What kind of makes this look a little messy is because I didn't make my sketch light. But like I said, when you do it, make your sketch light. Don't make your sketch dark, because if you're using those light colors, it makes it look nasty and not uniformed. I said this piece will probably go in the trash after I'm done using it for tutorial purposes. I know everybody's like, oh my god, it's good. Why do you want to throw it in the garbage? Because I'm picky like that. If I don't think something looks right, it just, yeah, it doesn't live in this world very long. This is just a simple snarly wolf head, and there's actually some anatomy errors on this, which I didn't really care because I'm just going to use it for tutorial purposes anyway. So you just keep doing one hair at a time. I have a regular brown. I'm going to get the colors I need like more close to me, that way I don't have to reach over and get them. And I'm using just a brown. You have to press on these little guys sometimes a little harder than what you would a Prisma. They are hard leads. That's how I broke two of the leads, because I had to press really hard on these fellers. Sometimes when they get going on layers and stuff, they don't want to act right. Like I said, that's a Crayola for you. Sometimes they are hateful. Can be done. You just might break a few leads like I did, but it can still be done. You can create art with anything. As you see, it's starting to take shape. I mean, at least the brown is. And it looks kind of weird where the gray is because of the slate. Because that's where I keep fading everything off at and tapering it off. But yeah, you just, and you can use the lines like really close together. To give different textures and a different look and feel. It's just something you have to play around with, because it may not look right the first time you do it because you're not used to doing it like that, and it takes a lot of time. Like, this is what you'll be doing for hours. Literally hours. And you'll be going back over it and back over it and back over it. And if you want to be able to blend your color pencils and you're not using Prismas, and you're using a pencil that don't blend very well, you can use baby oil on a Q-tip, and it will work really well to blend the pencil. I don't have any baby oil, so I won't be using that on these pencils because I don't have any available to me at the moment. I'm taking the slate, and what I'm doing with the slate is I'm just pressing harder on it to make it have a darker value. And I'm just taking it right into that brown and pulling out. I'm doing a little bit longer stroke, short stroke. because you're starting to come back in here in the fur. You get back over in here, you can do longer strokes. Doesn't matter if you go over the pencil lines because you're trying to give it that effect that that fur looks real. See what I'm saying? You just keep working it. It's a process. It takes a long time. If you're doing realistic pieces, you are going to be forever on them. There is no loopholes to it. Trust me. I've done still life. I've done portraits. You know, a lot of times I don't have to have a photo work with realism. A lot of times I can just draw it realistically with no references. And I actually push myself to be able to draw stuff more and more without references because that's where you get good. It's good to use a reference, but if you always use references for stuff, you become very dependent on that. And it comes to the point where you can't draw unless you're looking at it. It's fine to use a reference and to study anatomy and study photos and study your subjects and stuff. It's good to do that, but don't use references as a crutch, because if you ever get somewhere where you don't have an internet access or something like that and you're wanting to do referencing and you're unable to because you can't draw it from memory, you're going to be screwed. It's best to work with doing artwork without a reference and stuff, because your reference is just a guideline to how you want your art to be if you're doing realism and stuff. And if you draw something enough, you should be able to draw it accurately after a while. Sometimes a reference can be a crutch, especially if that's all you use all the time, every time you draw. Sometimes it's good. If you draw wolves all the time, try drawing a wolf without a reference. See how close you get to how, you know, an actual wolf looks. And if you're doing like a fantasy wolf or something like that, keep in mind, you know, those don't have to look like a real wolf because they are a creation of fantasy. And there's no set rules for them. Just like, you know, cartoons. You see, I'm using a black. This is a black Crayola. I almost said Prismacolor, but I'm not. This is Crayola. I'm doing his eyes, or her eyes, its eyes, whatever. It don't have a gender. We don't care. It's whatever you want it to be. Be sparing with the black. Black is a hard color. It goes a long way. Use it sparingly. Don't press on this hard. Just lightly. Just very lightly. And like I said, you can make your wolf look any way you want. If you want more lighter colors in the face and stuff, then just use a bunch of lighter colors that are just a few shades darker than each other. I'm kind of doing a typical wolf that has like the darker browns, tans, sand colors, blacks, grays, you know. And every wolf is different. This one I have a little bit more dark on the face than normally. Normally I would probably have a lighter face, or gray like to here, and then just the bridge of the nose brown or whatever. I mean, all wolves are different. Just look at what patterns of wolves and animal that you're doing. See what kind of colors and patterns they come in, and go from there. Study your subject. And studying is different than referencing, because when you study something, you're studying so you can draw it without that reference. And the only way to get good at drawing stuff without a reference is just doing it. And then you can always check a reference to see, you know, what you got wrong and what you need to work on. That way you don't always become dependent on a reference. Photograph. And that way you don't have to credit a photograph because you drew something from your head. But you can see it's one hair, one hair, one hair. Some areas I'm making it more dark than others. And you can see the different layers of the hair and how it's starting to kind of look. And it's starting to look more fuzzy and more like you can take your hands through it. If I had my camera angle where it needed to be, that'd be wonderful. But you can see it's a lot to it. I may finish this just so I can show you guys a finished product. I may not shred this wolf. People ask me why I shred my artwork. People, if I don't like it, nobody else is going to like it. If I ain't happy with it, I know nobody else is going to like it. When art block is upon me, and the 99.9% of the time I cause my own art block because I'm so hard on myself and I'm trying not to be that way. But you can see the fur it's just starting. You can see how it's starting to have depth. And there's places that's darker, places that's lighter. You know, you just play with the value. And you can press on a pencil. You can make it darker. You can make it lighter. You can make it do whatever you want. Just by pressure. Like, this is light. Light pressure, very light. And that's dark. That's pressing hard. And it doesn't matter if your lines are squiggly or straight. Hair isn't always perfect on an animal. Study your subjects. Hair can go in different directions. It can kind of be wavy. You know, you can jerk it like that. And it gives character to the hair. See? You can see right there where I've kind of waved it a little bit. And it gives like a characteristic like, oh, maybe she has like a little bit, her fur's a little bit wavy in that area. Some animals have that. You can, you can see, this is just a little tiny bit. And I know this is looking darker than what it needs to be because my house does not have very good lighting, so. I can't help, I live in a cave. Excuse me. Let's just repeat process till your hand falls off. Repeat process till the hand falls off. Repeat process till the hand falls off. I do hope these tutorials help people though, because that's why I do it. Now I'm going to end this video here. I might do another video on this after I get some more done and I get more on the back where I can show you how to really do the longer fur, but I think this is adequate enough. Thank you guys for joining me.